What's up, YouTube? It's Heretic here, and welcome back to another week. We're going to try to get some stuff kicked up here these last couple weeks leading into Nationals, or I guess it's more like a week and a half, maybe a little less than that for U.S. Nationals. Starts a week from this Thursday. We'll be check-in, and then, of course, all the festivities right here in my hometown of Columbus, Ohio. So I'm pretty darn excited for that, if you guys can't figure that out. So over the weekend, I attended the Origins Game Fair here in Columbus, and we had the Origins Win-A-Trip tournament. So we saw Jimmy McClure ultimately take first place there with his Darkrai-Garbodor deck. We also saw 4 Darkrai-Garbodor Giratina lists, which is what we're looking at here, that made it into top 8 in that tournament. Some other players, it was really a stacked cut. We had big names like Russell Lepere, Aaron Tarbell, Christopher Szymanski, Sean Foisey, so on and so forth. I know I'm forgetting some big ones. Alex Hill, Alex Croxton, actually. Nothing against anyone else there. That's who I was rooting for, just because he's my buddy, and well, or the two of us, kind of arch stoic buddies. So yeah. But in any case, was really cool, and this was the big deck that came out of the tournament. Is Darkrai Giratina, which I profiled earlier as a rogue deck. However, now we've added Latios for the donk factor, and we're also running Garbodor. So if we don't donk Greninja, we just shut him down with Garb. Giratina, however, still as low as Latios, gives us a great matchup against Night March, or at least a more than adequate way to deal with it. And then, of course, Darkrai hitting Trevenant for weakness is big. So all the big 3 decks right there are covered. So really making Waterbox one of the bigger matchups, I think, here. Especially since a card like Regice or Jolteon-EX can definitely cause problems for us. But in any case, this has proven to be a pretty solid deck. You could always try to run Mew, I guess, if you wanted, although it might clash with Garbodor, so I might not do that. But we're going to look at this here. Our central attacker, as before, is Darkrai-EX, whose Dark Pulse attack for 2 energy does 20 damage plus 20 more damage for every darkness energy attached to all of your Pokemon. Unlike Yveltal-EX, now there are pluses and positives and negatives to this in comparison to Yveltal. While Yveltal-EX counts the energy attached to both itself and your opponent's active Pokemon, it does not count the energy on your bench. So you have to stack a whole bunch onto your Yveltal itself, meaning if it gets knocked out, you just lost all that energy. Meanwhile, Darkrai can count the energy on all your Pokemon, meaning you only need to put 2 energy on him, and then you can just spread everything else out on the bench. So that's definitely beneficial to have. And then, of course, having 10 extra HP is never bad. Different weakness and resistance, so if you really wanted to run an Yveltal in here, you definitely could. Thought has definitely crossed my mind. So Darkrai overall just proving to be very powerful. Well, really only one big fighting type that had already been established in the meta is Gallade, which is brought out through Maxie's Hidden Ball Trick. The other ones are more tier 2, tier 3 kind of stuff like Zygarde and, stuff like Gallade, or sorry, I already mentioned Gallade. Stuff like Zygarde and, just Garchomp, stuff like that. However, we did see some Medicham decks show up during the tournament. So I'll definitely be doing a profile on one of those here pretty soon too. Our support attackers, we have Giratina-EX, which has a nifty ability that prevents all effects of attacks, including damage, done by your opponent's Mega Evolution Pokemon to Giratina. So basically, if you go up against Mega, if you go up against like a Mega Manectric, a Mega Sceptile, a Mega Rayquaza, just forgo the Garbodor if you want and just leave Giratina and force them to have to Hex Maniac around it. And of that bunch, only Rayquaza is going to get the one-hit knockout there. So otherwise, I think your Mega matchups are pretty darn good. And eventually you can get Darkrai up to the point where it'll just OHKO those Mega Evolutions anyway. Pretty ridiculous the amount of damage you can get to with this. Also, Chaos Wheel for a Double Dragon, either 2 Double Dragon energies or a Double Dragon and 2 Dark. You can deal 100 damage and then prevent your opponent from laying down any Pokemon tools, special energy, or stadium cards from their hand during the next turn. While Stadium's is big against Trevenant, Darkrai already hits that for weakness. So what we're looking at here mainly is the special energy. And the reason that's a big deal is because decks based around Night March or just itself and anything Vespiquen, including Vespiquen Vileplume, can be instantly shut down by a single Chaos Wheel if they do not have an accurate response or an appropriate response to it. Sorry. So that's definitely going to be a big deal. And Giratina has won me quite a few games against Vespiquen as well as Night March in this instance. Of course, Night March can still be an uphill battle if you can't get a Giratina bulked up quickly enough. But If you can probably run away with the match because of it. Really depending on whether or not they play Zero Sick and how frequently they can keep your energy away from you. So, pretty solid card there, of course. It has been since its release. And then we have Latios-EX, which is great against, like I said, the aforementioned Trevenant, Night March, Greninja, anything that runs smaller basics like Zoroark-centric decks, Vespiquen, Vespiplume, I think actually did win a game or two by Donk. Fast Rage, of course, you get a double Dragon Energy on him. You can use it when you go first on the first turn, so you slap a Muscle Band or a Fury Belt on there and take the small basics out right away. If they open one basic, go second, bam, good night. Chris Szymanski actually did this to me in Game 3 of our match. I was playing Greninja at Origins, and I was fortunate enough to take him to Game 3, given that he was running Garb against my Frog deck, but he just fast-rated my lone Froakie Game 3 for the Donk. So, definitely an effective strategy that's worked for me in a handful of matchups. So, and if you don't get the Donk, he can just kind of sit there in the same manner as Giratina and soak up double Dragon Energies to buffer Darkrai's damage output. And lastly, we have Garbodor. Throw a Pokemon tool, particularly a Float Stone on this guy, and then every Pokemon in the entire game, except for Garbodor with Garbotoxin, Discard Pile, Hand, Field, etc., no abilities. And then, of course, we don't attack with him because, well, we can't. But still, you go ahead and arm the Garbodor and shut down the frogs, the Shaymins, etc., etc. Speaking of Shaymins, we also run 2 of those. No Hoopa in this list. That's a card I'm kind of on the edge for. You could easily cut something like the Baby Eviltal we have here for re-energy acceleration. You could cut that for Hoopa if you wanted to go aggro. I'm all for that kind of strategy, but right now we're just looking at a proven list. And then, of course, you can always make changes if you like. You could also play an Yveltal-EX instead of the regular Yveltal or one of the Darkrais. So that's our Pokemon lineup. Item cards, we have... We'll go to our Pokemon tools here first, actually. We have 2 Muscle Bands to make sure Latios can hit the 60 for Froakie, and for, well, just any other big 60 HP basics right now, actually. Mainly for Froakie, I think. I guess Zoro was 60 HP. And then 2 Fighting Fury Belts for extra HP to make Darkrai into a tank at 220, and 2 Float Stones. Then we also have our rest of our item count. We have a Super Rod to put energy back to buffer our odds for Max Elixir later in the game, as well as putting our Pokemon back if needed. So maybe we got a Sycamore Garbodor away early or something gets knocked out and we need it back. And an Escape Rope to deal with the dreaded Regice and Jolteon, which can give us some serious problems. So just Escape Rope it back to the bench and then Lysander it out. Then we got 4 ofs. We got Max Elixir, obviously it's our energy acceleration tool. We got Trainer's Mail, Ultra Ball, VS Seeker, all 4 ofs. Just pretty basic stuff. Supporters, we got 4 Sycamores like normal, 2 Ns, 2 Lysanders, and an AZ. We don't run any battle compressors in the deck, so having duplicates of Lysander I think is definitely a beneficial option, kind of way to go here. And then, of course, we have, as I mentioned, our VS Seekers. Finally, 1 Parallel City. This mainly just to get Shaymins off our board so that we can avoid having them Lysandered up and easily knocked out. You could also knock Garbodor off the bench if you really needed to play something later on. You know, you could knock it off the board to maybe activate Giratina's ability, or maybe you just need to wait until something gets knocked out because you desperately need to play a Shaymin. That's not the case too often, though. Can also limit a Mega Rayquaza player's bench to 3, since its damage reduction effect doesn't affect anything in this deck. Finally, we have 4 Double Dragon Energies to go with our Giratinas and Latios, and mainly that's just to buffer Darkrai by 40 with a single attachment instead of 20. And then we have 8 Darkness Energies. You can also play this deck without the Dragons, just play pure Dark. I know that's what Jimmy McClure did, and he ended up winning the entire tournament, so definitely can't argue with that. But for now, we're looking at the Dragon variant, and we're going to go ahead and take this and play a couple of games with it and see how it does. Okay, so we'll go up and try this out now here. Come on. Alright. Well, I guess we're going second. Unless our opponent... Well, nope. Okay, scratch that. Okay. So, our opponent's got a mulligan. Okay. So, we're going to go ahead and lead off with these 2. And we see Lightning. Okay, so maybe like a Mega Manectric variant or something. And we'll take an extra card. Yeah, let's go. Oh, good grief. Are you kidding me? Don't put all these dark energies in my hand. So it looks like we're going against the Mega Manectric Ho-Oh variant. So that's cool. It's fun stuff. Alright. 2 Max Elixirs right off the bat. And 2 successful hits. Wow. And that Ho-Oh is, wow, turn 1. Alright. Let's go. So we're probably going to whiff this. Nope. Oh, wow. Good luck is good. I like that. So we'll go ahead and attach a second one, and we're just going to throw this. Maybe we'll super rod those 2 back into the deck or something. Okay. So let's see here. What else can we do? Go ahead and play this. We can just drop the 2 supporters since we have a VS Seeker. And oh man, yeah, let's get the Shaman. Okay, so we'll go ahead and throw that and that down. And we can also bench lock our opponent, just because. And we'll Shaman for a few extra cards. Okay, so we can do some damage here. I'm not really sure that that's what I want right now. I think I might actually just wait until next turn. So we'll just go ahead and pass for this round. See if we can't bulk some stuff up here in a turn or two and start swinging for a lot larger amounts of damage. So we do see the 4th energy go down and a switch. So we're going to see a big attack here from Ho-Oh. Shaman comes down and draws up 5 cards for our opponent. And so we're going to see an Elemental Feather, so 130 and then 30 damage onto our Shaman, so some heavy hits. Getting laid into us right off the bat. We do get another successful Max Elixir, however, so we're going to go ahead and move that there. We can Float Stone our Latios. Go ahead and drop that down, and let's see, we can VS for the Lysander here. So let's at least bring this thing up, and you know, if he knocks it, he knocks it. It's whatever. Hopefully next turn we can hit a double dragon, maybe start actually doing some damage. So he does drop an energy, so we're gonna see a Sycamore here. So we see Mega Manectric, Hoopa, all kinds of shenanigans going down there. So we see a Manectric-EX come down, Trainer's Mail, a lot of shiny stuff in here. If VS Seeker and Mega Manectric were gold, I'd think we'd have max rarity going on here. So Shaman retreats, Ho-Oh comes out, and we're going to take another big hit here. And one of our Darkrais will take 30 as well. So we forfeit 2 prize cards, but that'll put us in a great position to play an N here. And we're going to bring up the damaged one, because without a Giovanni Scheme or a Muscle Band, he won't be hitting a knockout here. So we can play the N, drop him to 4 cards, redraw a hand of 6 for ourselves. And we get the Fighting Fury Bell here as well, which is a big deal. So we can see 20, 40, 60, 80, 120. So we're not going to be one-shotting, but we're going to come close. Let's see if we can't hit an Elixir here. There we go. So that'll definitely help us out. And lay that down. Alright, nice. Got it. So we'll go ahead and throw that energy. Probably should have put the Giratina down and thrown it there, realistically. We'll go ahead and do that. And we are doing a lot of damage now. 170. And so we're going to see 50 of that get healed off, but we'll just turn around and finish up with a knockout on our turn. So we see 50 damage get healed. Max Elixir, of course, went on to Manectric. We're going to see an energy switch. So maybe move that fire energy over there. That's exactly what's going to happen. Giratina hopefully will be our good buddy against the Manectric. So we see a Muscle Band, so Assault Laser is going to hit us for 140, but not enough to KO. And now we're going to find ourselves digging for a way out of the active spot without hopefully having to pay that 2 retreat cost. So we'll Sycamore. And alrighty. Now, is that all? Okay, 3 of our max elixirs are gone. So let's go ahead and try to reach for the escape rope. There it is. That's what we're looking for. So we're just going to go ahead and use that escape rope. And he'll probably bring the Articuno up. But that's fine. Because it'll let us switch into our other Darkrai, which is a lot better suited right now. So we're going to put a Dark Energy onto Giratina here. Play a Trainer's Mail. We'll get another Fighting Fury Belt. And we'll throw this one onto Giratina. So we can do that. And I'm actually going to wait on the Super Rod for now. And instead we're just going to Dark Pulse for 180 damage. So we'll get 1 prize off of that. Get a Muscle Band. So we can kind of just do whatever with that. Throw it on Darkrai or something next turn. Ho-Oh is going to end up healing itself again. If it gets a Fire Energy, that is. I forgot he actually moved it over to Manectric. So our opponent plays an N. So we lose 5, gain 5. That's whatever. We hit the Elixir, and unfortunately we don't have the Super Rod to send those 2 in the discard back into the deck. So we actually we can't hit the Elixir because we don't have any more Dark Energy left. So it'd be kind of silly to even play it. Now, here he's only going to do... Okay, so he's going to forgo the 80 to do an overrun here. And bring our other Darkrai up to 190, so it's hanging on with the Fighting Fury Belt. So we'll see if we can't hit the Super Rod. There we go. So we'll go ahead and grab that and try to make some use of it. Send both Dark Energies back, and we'll send Latios. And let's see here. Go ahead and play the Elixir. Nope, that's not happening. Alrighty. So I think in this situation, I'm just going to go ahead and toss a Muscle Band onto Darkrai. And we'll just use the... here, let's see, he's got 4 prizes left, only 2 cards in hand, so we can Sycamore our deck down to 7. And yeah, we can put a 1 prizer down. That's cool. Okay, so because we did that, I think I'm gonna go ahead and go with the Double Dragon over here. We also have a Float Stone should we need it, and we can Dark Pulse. Someone wants to know, is this here for real? So tell him, yep. And we will take our 2 prize cards. So we get a Trubbish and a Darkrai. And now we gotta hope that we don't get a buffered Ho-Oh attack thrown our way. Although he'll be able to snipe the other Darkrai off the board regardless. But that would also put us in a situation where Giratina and a Lysander could win us the game. And we'll wait until the end of the game to let him know that he's in a video. So we see Rough Seas come down. So he bumps the stadium, attaches an energy to the other Ho-Oh, and launches an Elemental Feather for 10 short of a knockout, but he KOs the Darkrai on our bench. So he is going to hit our damage output a little bit, but we're still doing 20, 40, 60, 80, 120, plus another 80. So we're still doing 200. Can't really complain about our output right now. However, the last Darkrai is not going to be able to be charged up, so not really too much purpose in putting it down, I don't think. Can definitely throw this Dark Energy over here. And I'm thinking, let's see, let's go ahead and do that. Let's discard a couple of things. Pull a dead card out of the deck, I guess. And we can also throw a Muscle Band down just to get rid of it. And then we will Dark Pulse for a knockout here. So 220. Still an awful lot of damage. and we'll get ourselves down to 1 prize card. So Double Dragon Energy is kind of flying in late here. And so we'll go ahead and let him know that he's in this video. So, and actually it's kind of scary because if he had had a grass energy there, he could have won by Lysandering up the Shaman, but he didn't have the play. And given that there's only 1 VS Seeker in his discard, that's actually pretty scary. So he missed something. And he can knock us out if he gets that energy. Just needs any energy here. Wow. So we see Mega Manectric. Yikes. Okay, here's the Shaman. Come on. So we see the Fighting Fury Belt come down. Spirit Link. Oh! Wow, and so we're going to hold on with a stroke of luck here against that 2 prizes. And so Darkrai is going to Dark Pulse for the game. Wow. Whew. So you talk about a close call there. That Ho-Oh can do a lot of damage. And so great game to our opponent there. And so we got a little lucky there. We'll go ahead and we're not going to deny that. So anyway, we're going to go ahead and go into another game and see how this does. Alrighty. And we get, or it looks like we're getting a fighting deck sicked on us, which is not fun, but we'll go ahead and try to overcome our kryptonite here. Okay, so actually when you consider we're going up against fighting, we got a pretty good starter. And so let's see what we got here. Bats, enhanced hammers, all kinds of stuff I don't want to see. Wonderful. I guess bats don't bother me too much. Enhanced hammers, those might be a little frustrating. Alright, so we'll go ahead and take an extra card here. So he leads with a Hawlucha and a Zubat, so we'll attach an energy. And we'll attach a Fighting Fury Belt, and we will play a Sycamore. So let's try to get something bigger on the board. Okay, let's see. And he's playing hammers, so we don't want to fall victim to that too quickly. So we're just gonna do this and try to fetch ourselves something. I hate using Darkrai in these matches. It's so awkward. So we'll play the Trainer's Mail, and we hit nothing. Alright. Darkrai, say hi to the board. We'll do 1 Max Elixir and 2 Max Elixir. Nope, not happening. Alright. And so we'll pass and hope we don't get Stadium delinquented. Because I could see that happening. So we see a Corina here. Okay, so he grabs a Lucario and an Ultra Ball here. So we see Lucario come down, and a strong energy to go with it. So he'll be able to retreat into that, avoid our resistance, and hit for at least 50 damage here. We see an Ultra Ball discarding a Crobat and a Shauna. So he grabs a Shaman. And we're going to see setup here for 4 cards, it looks like. Definitely need to start getting some dragon stuff down, but the problem is those enhanced hammers are going to rain on our parade like nobody's business. So we'll go ahead and do the elixir there, and we can lock his bench at 3, which is going to be a good scenario to be in, force him to draw out of it. And we'll go ahead and play the VS Seeker here. Try to grab a fresh 7 and see what we can work with. Okay, so we'll put the Trubbish down, try to put a Nix on those bats. And we can also do this, put that there. And I suppose we'll do this. And we can Oblivion Wing here for 40 damage. And we'll get an energy. And I'm actually going to put it on the other Darkrai so that we don't have one that's a giant Lysander target. So he does go ahead and knock our stadium down. We're going to see Zubat become Golbat, and see where he opts to lay the damage down. And that Lucario is an energy or a muscle band away from one-shotting a Darkrai, which is kind of scary. And so there's the energy. We'll see if he drops the Lysander now. So instead he plays an AZ, so he picks up Shaman, can play it back down for 3 cards on setup. So that will give us another turn. Now we have Lysander in hand here, which is actually pretty huge. If we can stall out with and avoid an opponent's Lysander for 1 or 2 turns, we can put ourselves in a pretty good spot. We're actually not going to have to play ours. So it looks like this guy's just coming right up to lay the smack down. A Corkscrew Smash, which, okay, so he's going to use Missile Jab instead to dodge resistance. Hits us for 70. So we get the Garbodor. We could activate it with a Fighting Fury Belt if we wanted to here. I'm not too keen on that idea at the moment. Instead, we're just going to attach here, I think, and go ahead and use Oblivion Wing again. So 40 damage, and we'll have 2 Darkrai's ready to go. And then he can either energy to knock us out, or try to just drop a Lysander and take an easy 2 prizes. So instead he plays a Shauna, so that puts us in a more comfortable spot, I think, to where if we can simply get Yveltal out of the active, be it with another energy or simply getting knocked out, wildcard being Escape Rope there, or VS Seeker for AZ, I guess, whatever, pretty much off of either a top deck or getting KO'd, then we can go on to a pretty healthy spot in the game. So we see a Super Scoop up here. He gets heads, so he brings Shaman back to his hand again, puts it down for a 2-card setup. And I think this is a spot, yeah, like I said, where we definitely actually want him to knock us out here. Kind of wishing we didn't have that Fury Belt. So he does a Corkscrew Smash, but it is enough to KO. So he'll get a prize card off of that, and then we can bring up Darkrai, and he's got 140, and we are doing exactly 140 right now. Just enough to get that knockout. So we can go ahead and lay down another Darkness Energy, and oh geez, where do we put it? I'm going to go ahead and put it over here, actually, as unorthodox as that might sound. And we will Fury Belt to prevent the 1 energy knockout. And then just go ahead and launch a massive Dark Pulse for 170. Get 2 prize cards off that. And so we hit another Lysander and an Ultra Ball here. So we can search for a Shaman on our turn. And hopefully, I guess it's actually good that we didn't activate the Garbodor, because that Hawlucha could come in and clean us right up. So hopefully we don't see like a Silent Lab or a Hex Maniac here. So he does play an Enhanced Hammer. We lose our Double Dragon energy. We see another Super Scoop Up. This time it's Tails. And we see a Judge to 4, which, given that we only had 3 in hand, I guess that's not too bad. And, okay, so we draw Sycamore off it, which is solid. We see a Crobat come down, so we're going to see 30 damage go somewhere. And that's going to be on the Darkrai. Alrighty. We do have, what, one darkness in the discard, okay. We got 5 on the board, so we'll probably play the Super Rod and then do the Max Elixir. So we take 80 damage off Flying Press. Go ahead and put this Darkrai down. Super Rod to get Yveltal, Garbodor, and Dark Energy back. And then play this Elixir. And there's an energy, so we can just throw that right onto our Darkrai. I'm not going to worry about the Giratina. Could use it to wall off some energy, but it's whatever. So I think in this instance we're just going to lay down another Darkness and go ahead and Dark Pulse for another knockout here. And with the threat of Hawlucha being as real as it is in this matchup, I think we're probably better off not arming the Garbodor unless we absolutely have to. Might even be better VS Seekering for the AZ if we need to get it off the board in the event of a Lysander. We've got 3 Darkrai's charged up to attack, Double Dragon just kind of waiting in hand, so we're actually in a pretty solid spot. We've also run our opponent out of fighting types, at least for the time being. Crobat will come out with its free retreating ability. Always solid after a knockout. So we do see a Corina. See if maybe a not Landorus, sorry, see if it's Hawlucha, Zygarde, Lucario. So he pulls Lucario and a Professor's Letter there, so be able to go and get an energy to go with it, and one for next turn. And right now, with 7 Darkness energy on the board, we're able to hit, well, I don't think it really matters how much we're able to hit because we're about to get knocked out, I feel like. If we weren't, we would be able to hit 170 at the moment, so the Double Dragon would finish a knockout, but I still think even if we lose these 2, we'd be losing 50 from 170, so we'd be down to 120. We could just go Double Dragon, Muscle Band, and we would still get the KO. And so he doesn't lay anything down, so we actually don't have a Lysander in the discard pile because they got shuffled back in. So we can go ahead, throw that onto Latios, and we'll go ahead and play our Ultra Ball here. And we're just going to lay down a couple of cards that we don't really need at the moment. And I'm not even going to bother taking anything there. Put a Muscle Band on one of our Darkrai's. And so our opponent's going to go ahead and forfeit. I think he kind of sees that we're going for a Lysander there that would basically end the game. So you kind of see we overcome the fighting deck there, which is pretty substantial. So maybe not the most meta of decks, but of course, as I explained, kind of how this goes over against Trevenant, Greninja, and Night March. So, Night March, of course, always had, I feel like that's got a shot against anything if it sets up properly, but just overall and in general, a pretty solid deck, and, able to overcome a big fighting deck like that, definitely a pretty big accomplishment, I think. So, anyway, that's Darkrai, Giratina, Garbodor, and I'm Heretic. I'll see you guys hopefully tomorrow. Cheers!